Diddy Combs has been breaking prison rules by contacting potential witnesses in his upcoming sex trafficking trial. Prosecutors have alleged.
We made a bail appeal to Judge Carter. It did not go our way. The fight continues.
The music mogul is accused of making relentless efforts to corruptly influence witness testimony by using other inmates' telephone accounts and using three-way calls to speak to people who are not on his approved contacts list.
Had to ask God for his mercy and grace.
Prosecutors said a review of recorded calls also found that Mr. Combs instructed his family to contact potential witnesses in his case, they said in a court filing.
I'm going to try and minimize the amount of time he spends in very, very difficult.
The 55-year-old rapper, who has pleaded not guilty to all the charges and vehemently denied any wrongdoing, appeared in court on Tuesday as a judge weighed the new evidence, part of which was found in a notebook in his jail cell. In this video, we are going to talk about a story on P. Diddy police interview and court hearings. Before we start the video, please like and subscribe to our channel for future updates. Let's get started. At the hearing on Tuesday, a judge ordered that prosecutors destroy copies of materials seized in Mr. Combs' jail cell, as the judge weighed whether they could be used in court. Judge Arun Subramanian, who is overseeing the case, ruled that the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York cannot use the material or any excerpts from it during Combs' upcoming bail hearing on Friday. The judge said he would examine the materials and weigh in on whether that can be used at trial. Mr. Combs' defense team claimed that government prosecutors illegally seized his personal notes during a search of his jail cell at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, where he has been detained since his arrest on 16 September in the lobby of a Manhattan hotel. They argued some of the materials detailed information that is protected under attorney-client privilege, which shields information discussed between a client and an attorney. The government detailed that a filter team went through all materials before they were given to prosecutors. The information at issue is not protected, prosecutor Mary Slavic said at the hearing. They argued the information could be considered obstruction of justice and negate the typical protections of attorney-client privilege. Allegations of sexual abuse. A law enforcement source described the events as 6***, emphasizing that this situation goes beyond consensual adult parties. Look, if this were just him having sex parties with a bunch of horny adults, we wouldn't be having this conversation. That's perfectly legal. But that's not what we're talking about. This man is a predator, the source stated. Recent lawsuits have implicated Diddy in incidents of rape that allegedly occurred at his 2005 MTV VMAs afterparty, where numerous celebrities like Eva Longoria and Paris Hilton were present. A lawsuit claims a woman was raped by Diddy and a female celebrity when she was just 13 years old, with details suggesting that the orgies often involved coercion. Uncanny abilities. Urging the judge to deny Mr. Combs' request for bail. The prosecutors wrote that no set of conditions could eliminate the potential risks to the trial. Prosecutors also rejected criticism of the conditions at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, citing an interview from the star's lawyer, Mark Agnifilo, who said food's probably the roughest part of Mr. Combs' adjustment to life behind bars. Mr. Combs' legal troubles began last November when his ex-partner Cassandra Cassie Ventura filed a civil lawsuit alleging incidents of rape and physical assault between 2007 and 2018. Although the case was quickly settled out of court, it led to a flurry of similar accusations and an investigation by the U.S. government. The star's properties were raided by federal agents in March, and he was arrested in New York in September. Mr. Combs was charged with 3 counts of sex trafficking and racketeering in a federal indictment that described allegations of drug-fueled, days-long sexual performances dubbed as freak-offs. The musician is simultaneously facing more than 24 civil cases by men and women accusing him of sexual assault, rape, and sexual exploitation. The star has vehemently denied all of the charges against him and the claims in the civil suits, arguing that the sexual encounters at the heart of his criminal case were all consensual. Seeing Diddy Combs' arrest, he allegedly induced female victims and male sex workers into drug-fueled sexual performances. dubbed freak-offs, according to the document. The freak-offs, referred to in the document some 16 times, were described as elaborate and produced sex performances that Combs arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. Prosecutors allege victims were given controlled substances during the sometimes days-long events to keep them obedient and compliant, and Combs subjected them to physical, emotional, and verbal abuse to get them to engage. It said Combs and his victims were so exhausted after the sessions, which sometimes lasted days at a time, that they typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. Around 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant were seized from Combs' homes in Miami and Los Angeles when they were raided in March, the indictment added. It also claims Combs and members of his business engaged in acts of violence, threats of financial and reputational harm, and verbal abuse, including kidnapping and arson, when witnesses of his alleged abuse threatened his authority or reputation. Court hearings. Dressed in a beige jail uniform, layered over a white t-shirt, Combs entered the courtroom to the side of his family seated in support. Blowing kisses and tapping his heart, he acknowledged his mother and children, who sat in the second row. During the hearing, Combs' legal team addressed key pieces of evidence, including hotel security footage. The defense described the footage, which prosecutors allege shows Combs in a violent altercation with his ex-girlfriend Cassie, as a misrepresentation of events. This video is being manipulated to paint a false narrative, said Agnifilo, who characterized the incident as the end of a toxic but loving relationship, as per the ABC report. The defense argued that the footage merely depicted Combs running after his clothes and phone during a heated domestic dispute, rather than evidence of sex-fueled parties alleged to the charges. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges. While his legal team continues to push for his release, prosecutors remain adamant that he poses a risk to public safety and the judicial process. The court's decision on Combs' bail request is expected to be announced next week. Until then, Combs remains in custody, awaiting further developments in a case that has drawn significant public and media attention. Combs' homes searched by federal agents. On March 25, agents with Homeland Security investigations raided Combs' properties in Los Angeles and Miami. 3 sources familiar with the matter told NBC News that firearms were found at his residences, but no additional details were provided. At the time of the raids, Combs was on his way to a scheduled trip to the Bahamas and was stopped at a Miami airport prior to departure. Officials seized his cell phones, sources said. Dyer, one of Combs' attorneys, issued a statement following the raids and said that Combs was never detained but spoke to and cooperated with authorities. He described the raid as an ambush, saying there's been a rush to judgment based on meritless accusations made in civil lawsuits. There has been no finding of criminal or civil liability with any of these allegations, Dyer said. Mr. Combs is innocent and will continue to fight every single day to clear his name. Brendan Paul, 25, was arrested at the Miami Opa-locka Executive Airport at the same time Combs was stopped at the airport. A law enforcement source familiar with the matter confirmed that Paul is a Combs associate. It is currently unclear whether the arrest was related to the raids. If you enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe to our channel for future updates. See you in the next video.